Okay, so I'm just making a quick video here, basically because I just got done tidying up a few things on the train set here. I haven't put any videos online for quite a while. I don't think I'm ever going to be a professional YouTuber. That's probably not happening anytime soon. You know, I'm not even too worried about the whole monetization thing. The last time I looked, I think I needed another 9,990 subscribers before I could start getting some ad revenue. So we're just kind of, oh well, I'm having fun at this point. So basically two things. I'm just trying to put up a video because I haven't done one for a while. That's one of the bad things about not having a lot of space is your train set tends to get covered with all your tools and your hobby supplies. I've cleaned it up substantially. As of right now, I just got a couple brushes and some paint and a cleaner and so forth. But another reason I'm putting this together is I don't think any of my friends on Facebook necessarily know too much about trains. And forgive me in advance for the potato camera work here. I'm going to have to get one of those little handheld stabilizers if I want to get fancy with this. I don't know how many I've talked to you about this, but I've been modeling trains for a while. I used to have a train set back when, before I got married almost 30 years ago. And it was kind of cheap stuff that I was buying at a discount because I worked at a toy store. And it kind of all went away, had some unfortunate circumstances. And a few years ago, my wife knew that I was having a hankering to put together a set again. And so she bought me kind of an inexpensive set, which I immediately started pouring vast amounts of money into to make it up into something. I bought one particular brand of train set, and it didn't do so great. It was kind of hard to assemble. It didn't unassemble very easily. It didn't stay assembled very well. So after spending probably $2 or $3 more, a few $100s, I'll put it that way. After spending a few $100s, I basically gave it all to one of my nephews. I basically went on Facebook and said, "Who wants a train set?" And he was the one that stuck his hand up in the air first. And I'm going to take an educated guess and say it probably doesn't get played with very often. I know this nephew, he's got a lot of irons in the fire. So basically, like I said, I'm putting up a little video for maybe my colleagues to look at on Facebook, but also for my whopping 10 subscribers, if you're actually still out there, just to kind of let you know where I'm at. A few things that I've done, I think I had done in a previous video, my little control center here. Basically, I've kind of painted just kind of that edge, just to make it look a little neater, a little finished. And you may not be able to see it on the video, but I've actually got a switch, one of the Just Plug switches there. And that helps me control my lights in the back here. And you may be wondering, well, which lights? And in this case, it would be for my, look out, it would be for my soon to be painted and decorated trailer park. And why, you might ask, do I have a trailer park? Well, a few reasons. I grew up in a trailer and was pretty happy with it. And because I'm trying to model, sort of, in a very tiny scale, Louisville. We actually lived in a trailer park when we first moved here, which just happened to be, I would say maybe 30 yards from the train track from a busy, what they call an intermodal yard. Which, intermodal, again, this is for the folks that know me, the folks that are out there rail fanning and hobbyists. You don't need to be told this, so just kind of talk amongst yourselves. Intermodal, if you don't know, an example of this is at the very end. See that little container guy, the CN for Canadian National. Okay, so that's intermodal. The reason why they call it intermodal is that it's on a train car right now, what they call a well car. All right, but it can actually be taken out of that well. There's a special crane, which I'm in the process of building on, that lifts it off of there. And then what happens is it goes to an intermodal yard, and they usually get shuttled around the intermodal yard by these little, what they call, I think they call it a yard truck. And then eventually it gets sorted out and it gets towed off by one of these guys, you know. Although these are regular just tractor trailers right here. And then of course is the business office. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with that little Mercedes. So there must be something important going on there. Here's a couple of my other engines. I actually recently diversified to, you know, again, we see a lot of, you know, obviously CSX here in Louisville. And because I'm from West Virginia recently, you saw mostly CSX. And of course, I'm old enough that I can remember back when it was, before it was CSX, of course, it was the chassis system. We didn't see much of Seaboard in West Virginia. You know, but we definitely had C&O, or the chassis folks. I can't remember chassis. Well, C&O, let's put it that way. Anyhow, but not only do we have CSX nowadays, but we also have Norfolk Southern. I've been diversifying, like I said, here in Louisville. You see not just CSX, but Norfolk Southern as well. Here's another office here, and you know what? For those of you who actually are rail fanners, do me a big favor. What should I do with this office? You know, I built these two kits. These are the Ricks kits, which happen to be made fairly close to here in Louisville. I keep thinking I'm going to buy another Ricks kit and maybe paint it some other color than blue. Painting is not one of my strong suites, so I haven't really been doing a whole lot of painting. But something that I just did do this evening, I actually painted around my little cliffside here. Basically, I worked on this. I had the cliffside put together several months ago. Put some grass on it. I've taken a kind of a half round file, and for those of you that have ever paid attention to the side of the interstate where they drill through the cliffside and then blast it out to make room for progress, I basically took a chainsaw file and filed those little notches essentially to kind of emulate that. And then I also roughed it up with a wire brush to kind of give you a little rock texture. One thing I did do this evening was I actually have started painting the top of my plywood area. You know, it's kind of awkward to be driving around on plywood. So, you know, I did some painting. I haven't really glued any of this down yet. We're going to move, and I don't want to get too excited about it. But I just basically filled in between the track. Yes, I know, I'm a giant. Whoa. Oh, gosh, it's Captain America. He lifted that whole thing up in the air. Anyway, so I just painted it in just a little while ago to, I don't know, because I got tired of seeing the plywood between the train track and the cliffside here. And when another thing, and this is, yeah, you may be able to see it, it might, yeah, it looks like it's picking it up pretty good. What I'm using is just a gray acrylic paint here, and there's a little bit of a texture material that you can mix into it. And so it kind of makes it look less like plywood. Eventually I'm going to put some roads. I got this kind of road tape stuck in the middle just to, again, I'm still trying to decide how I want to lay things out, to be perfectly honest. It's, you know, that's the cool thing about a train set is you're sort of telling a story in a way, and I'm still trying to work on the plot and kind of sketch it out. So I've got this silly little roadway tape with the bulge where it was folded. I guess I could pretend we were in some earthquake-stricken area and the road is bulged in the middle. But, oh well, anyway, that's going to come out at some point. So anyway, so now we talked about the intermodal at the end of this. And again, You know, like I said, the folks that are actually rail fanners are going to know most of this. So again, this is more for people I know if you haven't fallen asleep already into the middle of all this. Now this guy here, this is a local company. They're called R.J. Corman. Rick Corman started out basically kind of pretty much building his railroad from scratch. Unfortunately passed away from cancer several years ago, but he built up a hell of a big company. And they are known for making repairs to train tracks. You see them go out when there are crashes. They operate what's called a dinner train here in town, which I'm desperate to get my wife talked into actually going and having dinner on a train at some point. And you see R.J. Corman in Louisville quite a bit. I've got 9 more of those. I'm just waiting. There's a company called Intermountain that I would really, really, really wish they could get off their tuchus, and there's a locomotive that they're building to match this, which is, I need that locomotive. I don't feel like the nice folks at my local hobby shop, and a quick shout out to Scale Reproductions, who have probably sold me, I'd say, at least 80 to 85% of all this stuff. Basically, you know, they're kind of saying, hey, we're waiting on it too. You know, they were suggesting maybe me building my own, and I'm frankly not that talented. So, you know, at least I don't feel that I am. I don't want to try it. So, you know, that's kind of in abeyance. So this guy, and I've got a whole bunch more train cars up on the head of my bed. And you can see those 3 little green boxes, or blue boxes, excuse me, with the yellow trim. That's another 9 of those. And I have talked to people about how much I spend on this. Let's see here. I'd say just the 10 of those, if I remember, it was a couple of $100s. This locomotive was part of a set. But typically these little electric, the locomotives are typically, I don't get the fancy ones. It doesn't make noise. I can't really control it with what they call DCC. That one came with a set. By itself, it probably would have been $120. I've got easily $200 to $300 following it. Just depends on what I buy and when I get them. Some of them are more detailed than others. Let's see here. But that's neither here nor there. Hey, I'm having fun, and I don't have, my kid has grown up. So, you know, my bills are paid for the most part. So, not a big deal. So one more thing we'll just talk about real quick. Because I said I'm trying to model the traffic that's in Louisville. This happens to be what they call a mixed, if I understand correctly, called a mixed manifest, if I pay enough attention to YouTube. Basically, it's got a little bit of everything. Box cars, hoppers, what they call gondolas that hold gravel around, chemical tankers from various companies, another hopper, a flat car, and the aforementioned intermodal car. You know, so basically a train just kind of pulls a little bit of everything. And I'm trying to model stuff that you see going, literally I've seen most of these in Louisville. Maybe not these exact paints, but, you know, but just about everything here is pretty realistic. And that was, I hate to tell my nephew if he's paying attention, but that was another big reason why I gave him so much of my stuff. Frankly, it wasn't very realistic. It was all tank cars from like the 1920s and cars that you'd find in Europe, you know, which I'm not modeling Europe, so it doesn't do me much good. The locomotive was good. The CSX here was in that set that I bought that came with a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't need, essentially. And then I've bought other things. I bought used. That is one good thing about, we do have another train place in town that keeps a little bit of used in scale. You know, and I've gotten from them a few times before. You know, this Norfolk Southern is a kind of a relatively recent addition I got in the last 3 or 4 months. You know, the Land Rover there, I ordered that just about, 2 weeks ago. So, Anyway, I'm getting a dry mouth because of talking so much, as most of you know by now I'm very good at. So it's probably about time for the lights to go down. You know, this is going to be a very, very abrupt sunset here. And I've said that most of the folks in this particular trailer park are kind of hippies. So they're going to bed, and it's time for they're all going back to their trailers, and they're turning the lights on as the train keeps clicking by. Pretty proud of that thing. It actually turned out semi-realistic looking. So, you know, I figure, I don't know, about 10 more years, 15 more years, I'll do some more stuff on it. So, and who knows, maybe at some point I'll pick up 3 or 4 more subscribers. And, hey, if it keeps going like that, you know, maybe I'll be monetized by, I don't know, 2050 or so. Yeah. Anyway. So, for those of you that haven't completely gotten bored to death and haven't gone to bed yet, thank you for sticking around, and I'll try to get another one up for the actual subscribers here before too much longer, and have a good night, everybody.